Hi everyone, Dr. Michael Corsellis here today. I want to talk to you about gastrointestinal stuff, specifically Irritable Bowel Syndrome or IBS. So if you're one of those many folks who have some GI or gastrointestinal issues like gas, bloating, farting, pooping, all the good stuff on a regular basis, you might have IBS. Some folks might notice certain foods might trigger these symptoms. Again, with the bloating, it's like, man, you eat some whatever type of food, like some grains or wheat, and all of a sudden you get bloated, and this keeps happening. Or all of a sudden you have diarrhea alternating with constipation, or you're frequently stopped up, or you're frequently going to the bathroom. You definitely got to get that checked out. When it comes to IBS or irritable bowel syndrome, one of the good things that you need to do is rule out any of the big major red flags. Make sure you don't have anything like IBD or inflammatory bowel disease. Those are things like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and there's actually inflammation going on in the colon or in the gastrointestinal tract, causing a lot of issues. It could be things like colon cancer, stomach cancer, heartburn, infections. There's a lot of different things that can happen in the gut. When it comes to IBS, though, it's more of a diagnosis of exclusion. We rule out all the big red flags. If it's none of those kind of things, then it's probably IBS. Now, we do see a lot of IBS at our clinic, and patients have gone to a number of providers to get tested and treated, and I do see some other common big things that can contribute to IBS like symptoms. But again, it's good to rule out those big major red flags with your healthcare provider. Some of the underlying causes of IBS can be stress, for one. So for example, if I have to do a big talk in front of a group, I'm going to get an upset stomach and even run to the bathroom. There's that huge mind-body link that a lot of you are aware of. You have stress in the brain, and you actually have these brain chemical receptors called serotonin a lot in the brain, but also the receptors exist in the gut too. So there's that huge mind-body link. So stress can be a trigger to a lot of those symptoms. So stress reduction is huge if you do suffer from IBS. The other thing is it can be histamine related. So histamine is just a chemical our body creates just to identify like a foreign invader or an allergic substance. You've heard of like Benadryl or Claritin. They're called antihistamines. You sneeze, you have a rash, an itch, and runny nose, itchy eyes. That's a histamine response. But histamine can also present in the gut, in the brain, and all through our body really. But a lot of people have an issue with histamine intolerance. Histamine doesn't the body doesn't get rid of it over time, and just accumulates and causes a lot of issues in the body, particularly in the gut. So a lot of people who have heartburn or IBS like symptoms, the gas and bloating, they actually do well if they can manage that histamine response. The other thing is that another cause can be food allergies or food sensitivities. So some folks, they have a histamine response. They eat a strawberry and their lips get really itchy, or they eat it, like, again, going back to gluten, they eat those types of foods and get a gut kind of reaction. So that could be that histamine response. So the other kind of thing I see that can contribute to IBS is an infection, actually, particularly SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. This is a particular bacteria that can just accumulate in our small intestine and cause all of these other issues down the line, meaning it can cause problems in the colon, it can cause problems with histamine, it can cause problems contributing to your IBS symptoms. So those are other good common causes to rule out. So the histamine response, food allergies, food sensitivities, and when it comes to the food allergies and food sensitivities, there's something called like leaky gut syndrome. And then the other thing you want to rule out is make sure you don't have SIBO or SIBO. So I definitely would make sure you don't have any of the big red flags I mentioned earlier when it comes to the gut. But it's good to also identify all these other common causes to the IBS. So hopefully that helps get rid of some of that poop and that gas. And if you do have any questions, feel free to make a comment in the comment section or send me an email. And I hope this all makes sense, and I'll talk to you guys more.